It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the assistant women's soccer coach, Katy Etelman. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Brandon. Thanks. How's your day been?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into college soccer coaching?
I actually didn't decide to get into it until I had graduated from college. So I went through my undergrad thinking I was going to do something else. I actually was going to go into art therapy. And upon graduation and getting into grad school for art therapy, I actually decided that summer that it wasn't something I wanted to do, and got a call to go back to Miami of Ohio, where I did my undergrad, and just pursue another opportunity. Um, and that's where then I chose to do a master's in sports psychology. And so with doing that, that's kind of where the coaching and getting back into soccer and staying in soccer for a career came about. And so it was something, that I grew up loving and wanting to do. But yeah, the coaching piece came, almost a year after I was done kind of playing soccer. It was hard for me to stay away.
What was it like, obviously, playing for Miami, Ohio?
It was one of the best experiences in my life that I've had. I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunity. Um, I was actually recruited, I think, last in my class of 14 student athletes, freshmen that came in. So a really big class. And, going into it, it was like, what can I make out of this? I'm just going to do the best I can. And I really wanted to play. And so just doing my best so that I could find an opportunity on the field, which I was fortunate enough to do and play for 4 years. And so playing there, I, had some success on the field, but also ultimately, like I made really good relationships with my teammates, with my coaches. And, still Miami is something very near and dear to me, a place that's really important to me, but a place where I spent 6 years with grad school added on. So really enjoyed that experience.
What was your college soccer accomplishments?
I think going back to just getting the opportunity to play. So I was healthy for those years that I was in college, which, not everyone is healthy all 4 years. So as a freshman, I was able to work into the starting 11. So that was massive for me my first year. Was able to find the goal throughout my career a couple of times too. So that's always exciting. I love scoring goals, super competitive. As time went on through my career, we won a good amount of games, and my junior year was probably the biggest team accomplishment. So we had won the Mid-American, the MAC regular season conference, and then we won the MAC tournament, which took us, we got an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And there we won our first round game. We beat Tennessee, and then we played Duke, which was a humbling experience in that game. But just to win, we won 20 games that year. To win that many games in a season and to have team success was absolutely, my best accomplishment there. And then a small addition, I actually went back after my 4 years and played a fifth year in basketball. So just the opportunity to play another sport was another accomplishment in itself.
What's that like playing two different sports, obviously your fifth year?
I would say they were, they're pretty different team environments, like where soccer team's closer to 30, basketball's 15 or less. I would say when I was with basketball, we had a lot younger players. I was the oldest player on the team. Um, you have way more coaches on staff with basketball, which is also interesting for how small the team is compared to really usually only having 3 coaches on staff for soccer. Um, but both very enjoyable. Basketball season's pretty long. I mean, you start right in August in preseason, and then you start playing games end of October, November, and you play all the way through March. And so it's a very, very long season, where I think soccer's, a little bit shorter, at least compared to that, playing August through November, if you're good. But, I think both experiences, I grew a lot in, and I really enjoyed. Again, like I said earlier, I met a lot of great people through that as well. But I think that final basketball experience, to see how a program was run differently, kind of contributed to me wanting to get into coaching ultimately. And just learning from coaches in another sport kind of helped me grow my passion for coaching.
What was it like, obviously, taking your sports psychology degree and putting it to use in obviously coaching and going back to your alma mater to coach at Miami?
Yeah. So when I first coached, my first year of coaching at Miami, I wasn't necessarily getting to coach much on the field. And that was a lot because there's rules behind the game and how many coaches you're allowed on the roster. So I was kind of more of like a director of ops, but around the team a lot, in coaching conversations, just listening to, our 3 coaches, and we had a volunteer at the time. So there were 4 of them. But it was fun, because I was comfortable. I knew those people. I knew the way they wanted to play. Obviously, I had played with some of those players. So where I thought that might be kind of weird, I think it was okay, because I think there was a respect as teammates there, and just a comfort and a trust. And so I was probably more of the relator on staff to the girls. But I was able to use my sports psych classes, and even my classes kind of asked me to go to my team and try different things, with meeting with individuals or meeting with small groups or trying team building sessions. So I was really able to apply that right then and there, early on in my career. But it was a fun first season on the coaching side of things. We did make it through to a MAC championship. Unfortunately, we lost to Western Michigan, I remember, in the MAC championship. But overall, a great first year of coaching, which, has led me on now to coaching more years after that.
Of course, coaching at your alma mater, what was some of the challenges, obviously coming from being a player and having those teammates of yours now looking up to you as coaches? What was that like for you?
Yeah. I think that it was maybe not as hard as I thought it was going to be, for 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 myself. Again, like I said, I wasn't running a session just because I couldn't, because of the NCAA rules. Um, but I think that talking about the game, or experiences that those girls were going through at the time, like I was able to relate with them. Um, I think that, um, yeah, it didn't end up being as hard as maybe I thought. And I think maybe part of that too was because I took a year off and played basketball. I was 1 year removed, and so that kind of helped with, having a buffer in there, and being away for a year, and then returning a little bit after that.
What was it like, obviously, leaving your alma mater to go to Ohio State to be assistant coach?
That experience, was really cool. I would say it was pretty eye-opening for me at the time. I just felt like, I had been at Miami, for 6 years, and I knew Miami soccer. So going to Ohio State, the Big Ten, a more competitive conference level, Power Five conference, like, it was really, really cool for me to be there and to watch. On the coaching side, there was a true playing style that they wanted to set in with the team. And so, like, sitting in the room and watching them present, like, this is what we're going to do. This is the way we want to play. They had a common language. And it was just like, this is what we're doing. And so ingraining it into the team and everything, it was pretty possession oriented. And, I got to see a new culture, and I got to see the way girls were committed at a higher level. And so you just had more people who put soccer as number one, where maybe like when I was at the mid-major level playing and first started coaching, there's girls on the team that soccer is one for them, but there's other things that are important to them. On this Ohio State team, we had girls that had been with their national teams. And so I think actually that summer was an Olympic summer. And one of our Canadians had just won bronze. And so like being with high level athletes and people who had played and competed at a really high level, for me, like, I thought it was the coolest thing. So I was young in my career. I was hungry to learn, and, just trying to absorb everything I could, see how sessions could maybe be run differently and all that. I really loved it.
What were some of your accomplishments at Ohio State?
We as a team, we won a good amount of games. We were over 500, but we made the NCAA tournament with an at-large bid, and we won our first round game. And that year we actually played West Virginia twice. 2016, West Virginia lost in the national championship. So playing a team twice, we lost both times, but just being able to be on the sideline against, again, players who now play for their national team. I think it was a lot of fun for me. But yeah, having a winning season and winning a game in the NCAA tournament, those were two exciting things.
What was it like going to Ball State to obviously be the assistant coach?
Very, very fun, exciting learning experience. It was my first full-time assistant coaching position. And so that's where I finally was getting to start to kind of do some things on my own coaching wise. I had way more responsibility because now I was full-time. And so administratively, which is a massive part of our job, like I was over our travel. I now had oversight and help with our strength and conditioning, with our academics. And we had people who did all and helped our program with that, but I just made sure I was kind of the liaison to help with that or make sure it was going okay. But I was able to now start running parts of sessions, and then as time went on, running a whole session on my own too. And so I was able to start to try things as a coach and see what worked, maybe if there was any failure there. My opinion was asked way more as far as during halftime, pregame, during the game. But it was where I felt like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm full time. I love it. This is what I want to keep doing in my career. And so, yeah, Ball State was kind of, I think, my true foot in the door.
During the last 3 seasons at Ball State, what was it like, obviously, helping building that program?
Yeah, I think like I walked into a team that I think had really been built up to a competitive level. Back when I played and we were playing against Ball State, they were way lower in the conference. And by the time I got there, they had won some regular season MAC championships. So the coach that I was hired under, he had done a really, really good job of building that program up. And that's where I feel extremely fortunate to be hired to that and in that program and be part of it, when they were successful. And so I think like my hope was that I could have helped win a couple championships when I was there. We played for 2 MAC championships and we lost both to Bowling Green, who, this past weekend just won their 4th straight. So very impressive program. Absolutely. But yeah, otherwise, I think I did my best to help build a winning culture in recruiting, the way we played, and just things even outside of that, like their fitness, academics, just lifestyle as an athlete. And so, yeah, I had a lot of fun, at least joining into a program that to me was a winning program.
Of course, the first time you joined the Ball State program, what was it like for you, obviously coming from Miami, as you said that you also played against them? So what was that like now, not playing against them, now being on the coaching staff?
Yeah, that was different. I think you have these thoughts in your head of just like, wow, what's this game going to be like? And I think I just always try to remind myself it's just another game. Um, when we played Miami, when I was at Ball State, the coaching staff had changed. So the program was different by the time I started playing against them again. But I'm sorry, my lights just dimmed in the room. Um, but yeah, I just tried to make it like another game. I think it was maybe helpful that I had played in the MAC, and so I knew things about it. But the Miami team was different by the time I had played them, and so it wasn't as much of a having to play my old coach anymore. It was a completely different program by that time since there was new leadership at Miami.
What was it like this year joining the Xavier team?
Really, really exciting. I love it here. I would say it was something I had hoped to do at some point, and that's because our head coach Nate, he actually coached me at Miami. He was an assistant coach at Miami when I first got there. He helped recruit me, and so he's someone that had inspired me in this career path. And so, like I'd always dreamed of being able to work with him again because of kind of what he meant to me as a player. And I just knew the way he kind of inspires teams, motivates teams, coaches teams. Like it was someone that I had, wanted to learn from again on this side of it and not just play for him, but coach with him. And so it's been great. We've had a wonderful season this far. It's not over yet. But no, I've loved every second of it, and it's been a great step forward for me in my career.
What has it been like? Obviously, you said he was your coach back at Miami. What was it like now joining his team as a coach and learning under his leadership?
Um, I think there were some pieces maybe that I had remembered from the way he coached back at Miami. And so it's been easy for me to be really supportive of him, and then maybe try to add on things that I've learned since we've been apart. But I want to invest in what he's built, and I trust in the things that he does in his process. And so um, it's been pretty easy for me to join in. And again, because the team's successful and he's worked really hard since he got here years ago, to get them to where they're at right now, and not just him, but other assistants who have been with the program and who are now with the program. Like I said, I've loved every second of it.
What are some things that you plan to accomplish in this upcoming year?
Well, one thing we did win the Big East regular season, and so that was a goal for us. Unfortunately, last week we had lost our semifinal to St. John's, so we didn't get to play in the conference championship yesterday, which was played on our field because we hosted the tournament since we won the regular season. So that one unfortunately didn't work out for us, but this afternoon is the selection show for the NCAA tournament, and so that's another goal of ours, is to make it in, which I think we will. We'll be watching the show today at 4:30. The goal will be to host the first round of the tournament here at Xavier next weekend. And I think on top of just hosting, the goal is to absolutely win that game and to advance in the tournament. And if we can do it more than once, that's the hope. I've heard the girls talk that they really think we could be a Sweet 16 team. And so, that's a little bit of their goals as well. But yeah, so coming up, it'll be to advance in the NCAA tournament.
What's it going to be like to obviously advance in the NCAA tournament and play to obviously make it to the Sweet 16 and maybe hopefully to the national championship?
It's a great question. For me, I've advanced once as a player. It's really, really exciting. This team did it in 2019. So we have some leaders on our team who have been through that. We also have plenty of freshmen on our team right now who haven't experienced NCAA tournament yet, but a very, very fun time. I think it's something where going through it or maybe looking back, you feel like all the work you put in over the summer and throughout the season starts to pay off. But I think it's a proud feeling, it's a prideful feeling. And yeah, as long as we stay committed and invested in one another, I think it's something that we can absolutely accomplish.
Of course, as you talked about you as a player advancing, what has that been like, obviously telling the players that you're coaching now your experience of advancing? So hopefully whenever they advance, they can have the same experience.
Yeah. I guess I think back to the other day we sat in this very room and as a group, and some of our senior leaders just talked about advancing in the tournament a couple years ago in 2019. And so that experience, sharing what it takes, we just talk about just like, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And you have to commit absolutely every part of you to investing in that. So it's this whole week leading up to it. It's the sleep you get, it's your nutrition. It's what you do in training every day. It's not letting things outside of soccer distract you, getting everything done in school that you need to. But then ultimately, when you show up on game day, it is finding ways to score. It's keeping the ball out of your own net. But you can't just show up anymore. You've got to put it all on the line for one game, because if you don't get the win, your season's over, and then you have to wait all the way until next August to play again. And so it's just reminding people that there's a little bit of desperation that you've got to play with, and just kind of thinking about your passion for the game and why you play, and finding that and then committing to it 110%.
What's a typical game day like at Xavier during the season, and now will it be like going into the tournament?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that will change too much. We really just try to keep the same routine. If we're at home here and we're playing, girls should be going to class during the day. If it's the weekend, they'll be able to relax a little bit. But we don't do too much up until just like an hour and a half before the game. So we will give them time on their own to go eat and get ready on their own. But otherwise, they come and we do a pregame video session with the team about an hour and a half ahead of time. And our other assistant coach, Tyler, runs that. And so we do more of like internal video on ourselves from our previous game. And he'll show maybe a little bit of what we can improve on, things to look and be aware of for this next game. And then he'll show some like areas where we've been good and just reminders of like, this is what makes us good. These are the things that help us win games. And so he'll do video for that. We also have some managers on staff that help give us statistics. For us, things that are important are recycling possession, winning first and second balls, getting in behind the other team. And so those are stats that we share with the girls. And we've done it all season long because when we are on the positive side of those stats, we've won games. And so again, just reminding them of those things. And then we end that meeting with an inspirational video that one of the girls picks out. And so those have been anywhere from a sports movie or like a clip, a moment, like from Miracle or things like that. Or they've been like a motivational speaker who've who have their own videos, like a YouTube clip. And so those have been what we've used thus far. And then wrapping up that meeting, Nate, our head coach, he'll speak to the team. And like I said earlier, super inspirational guy, really motivates the group in those moments. And once that's over, we're close to an hour before the game. And so we'll head right out to the field and make sure everything's set up. And then the girls will start to come out about 40 minutes before, start their warm up, and we'll get going and kick off soon after.
Who are some teams that you play in your conference?
Yeah, in our conference, the Big East, well, we just recently lost to St. John's, who ended up playing Georgetown in the Big East final, and Georgetown was the tournament champion. There's Providence, there's Butler, Villanova are some Big East teams, Marquette up north, and Creighton out west. So there's definitely been some trips that we've flown to. We've had 4 different flights this year. And so that's something newer for me. I never flew as an athlete because my conference was regional. But yeah, we take some flights within our conference because we're a little bit more spread out.
What is it like, obviously, going as a coach, flying and stuff, getting prepared to obviously fly out to the games?
It's been pretty smooth this year, fortunately. But it's just making sure we've kind of got our checklists for what we're going to need on the trip. I've taken care of kind of the ticket system and getting our roster to our travel agent, which we do get some help from a travel agent. But leading up to that day that we travel, we practice, we have games right before. So if we need to adjust that at all, then we will. It's important to be good with communication. So giving the girls kind of our itinerary for that week. Tyler, our other assistant, he works with the bus company that will pick us up here to take us to the airport, but then finding another bus company for when we arrive to our destination. The flights, we all are on one plane. And so, we take up half a plane with our team. We travel usually with 25 people. But I mean, the girls here that act like professionals, they know what they're doing. And it's been easy as a coach to kind of just make sure that the process goes smooth. But really the athletes, they take care of their stuff, and they really help the process be pretty simple.
Can you talk about, of course, the program and what the culture has been like since you've helped build it?
Oh yeah. I think, like I said, Nate got here years ago, and he had his mindset on what he wanted and has built a really, really competitive team and enjoyable culture. And I would say, like, the culture he's built is super competitive. It's united. And, for example, right now, we have 2 words that we use, brave and sharp. And within those words, they're actually kind of an acronym for other words that are in our culture. So, for example, the B in brave is also belief. And with that belief, there's usually like a saying that we have as well. And so that's just buying in to our program. In sharp, the S is sacrifice. And so our motto there is we over me. And so, like I said, it's been really easy for me to invest in it, be supportive of it. But that's something that, like, the girls built throughout the last year. And so when I got here, that was something that they had put in place because they met as a team, they met as small groups to build that brave and sharp mindset. And so Nate will constantly go back to it and just remind the girls of every piece of that puzzle that makes us who we are. But then we talk a lot about roles. And so every individual within the program has their role, whether it's on the field, on the bench, within travel. within being supportive or in the weight room. And so, it's being mindful every day of what we do, who we are, and then just supporting each other and supporting the program in that way.
What is the recruitment process like for prospective student athletes looking to play college soccer?
Yeah. It's changed a lot since I played. There's a couple different leagues out there that you can play in competitively, which we go and recruit at as college coaches. And so you've got the ECNL League, you've got the Girls Academy League, you've got National League, and many others out there. Those are kind of the top three that we go watch. And of course, you also have high school. But I would say, like, I've gone out and watched some high school games, but it'll be way more competitive within a club setting. And so most high school athletes will join a club team that's close to their home. But the more competitive setting is hours away. And so we have had girls on campus, or we've had girls on our team that might travel a couple hours a week to go be with their club team. But right now, the rules have changed from the NCAA over the years. And so we can't talk to high school student athletes until June 15th, going into their junior year. We can go watch them before then, but we just can't have recruiting conversations with them until after then. So I think that's kind of helped push away the high school freshmen committing to a college at 14 years old when they're not going for another 4 years. And then another way for recruiting for us is ID camps. So sometimes that means us hosting our own ID camp and players coming to campus, seeing how we coach, how we run a session, meeting our players. There's third parties out there that also run ID camps as well. And so as coaches, we can go work those in different states or areas, and we can see players there as well. But yeah, it's a big process. It's, I think, pretty exciting for most high school students. I think it's probably also very stressful, but it's a huge part of what we do. And, that's what makes us good in the future, is doing a good job in recruiting.
What's it like seeing, obviously, the prospective student athletes when they come on the official visit to Xavier, seeing the school and seeing, obviously, if they fit for the next 4 to 5 years?
I think it's pretty exciting. You work pretty hard to convince young women like why they should consider Xavier and why they should come visit. And so when they come to campus, we do all that we can to make sure that they have an enjoyable visit. And a little bit of that is us as coaches taking them around or meeting their parents as well, or whoever else from their family might join them. But another big part of it is just putting them with our athletes, because those women do a really good job of helping sell the program. And so, we will do what we can to get them around our players. But I think it's usually a pretty enjoyable, exciting time for those young women when they come to campus. And like I said, we do all that we can. So we'll take them around our athletic facilities. We'll probably introduce them to some other coaches that maybe work with our program. We'll take them through academics, and we have an academic advisor who works with our team, so they might get to meet with them. But show them around campus, maybe get them in a classroom if they want to do that. But otherwise, yeah, just kind of spend the day walking around campus and having conversations about the way we do things and maybe what they're looking for in their careers.
Of course, as a college coach, what's it like to see, obviously, the prospective student athletes try on that jersey and see, obviously, when they fall in love with that blue Xavier color?
It's a lot of fun, and it always takes you back to like, what was your process like? Now as a coach, when we bring people on campus, it's because we want them here. And so watching them do that, and now like the media stuff is pretty big. And so that's where, like you said, they'll have an opportunity to maybe try on a jersey and get a photo shoot. And so I think that's something that's changed a lot since I was an athlete. but it's just fun to watch them because I do think you see their eyes light up, and it's a little bit more about them, and it's a really exciting time for them because it is very much so like, hey, can I see myself wearing this jersey again? But ultimately, the most exciting part is when they hopefully call you and tell you, like, I want to be a Musketeer. I want to come play for you at Xavier.
What advice would you give future college athletes looking to play college soccer?
I would absolutely say to explore as many options as you can. Not everybody can play at the top 5 schools in the country. And so there's so many different programs out there, um, different coaching styles, different schools. And so that's where, I think you've got to be open to just visit and see those schools and talk to those coaches, players. Don't just have your mindset on one thing. And it's great if you do and you pursue that. But still, I think having an open mind to different programs is important. So make sure you go see a D1 program in school, but then maybe it's worth going and seeing a Division 2 school or even a D3 school. But I think you want to keep having conversations with coaches and with players and see what their experience is. Maybe, if the coaches has been there a while, like what's the culture that they've created there. But I would just say you might get a lot of no's along the way, but never let it, turn you away from pursuing something that you've dreamed of since you were 6 years old. I think it's worth the pursuit to keep trying to find your fit.
What advice would you give college soccer players looking to get into college coaching like you did?
I think the biggest thing would be to stay around the game as much as you can, and that might start with your own school, like me in Miami. But at some point, whenever you can find a way to go see another program and learn from another coach, I would absolutely suggest that. I did a little bit of club coaching, and I've thought about doing more, but I think that club coaching is a really good opportunity to try things out as a coach on the field and run sessions a couple times a week. You'll be working probably with the younger population, but it's really fun. And like I said, it gives you an opportunity to try different things. I think working camps is important because then you can meet other coaches. But really, you want to try to build your network and meet different people and meet different coaches, and just learn from anyone you come in contact with. But yeah, get out there and just get involved in as much as you can.
What advice would you give first year college coaches looking to get into the industry?
I think your first year coaching college, you're probably gonna either like want to sit back and observe, or maybe you think you've got all these great ideas and you just want to start putting them in. And I think you have to find a balance there. Like you don't want to sit back too much and not have an opinion or not be involved, but then you also don't want to be overbearing and not learn from other people around you or not be open to other people around you who may have a different opinion than you. I think you've got to be willing to learn. Sorry about that. The lights now are all off in here. But yeah, I think, you want to find times that you can speak up and you can have a voice. But then there's also times where you've got to listen and you've got to learn. But if there's ever a time that you can find a way to put your stamp on something, whether it's doing video with the team, whether it's doing a scout, whether it's running part of a session, find a way to put your stamp on something.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media and the Xavier soccer program at?
Oh, that's a great question. I am on Twitter, Katy Etelman. I believe my handle is K, the number 8, Y, and then Etelman, Etelman. And then, yeah, Xavier Women's Soccer. Our handle is at Xavier W Soc. And we've got a lot of great content. The people that we have that work in media here at Xavier are awesome. So lots of goals from the season or graphics, they're all out there. But yeah, I think Twitter's probably the best spot.
Thank you again, Coach Katy Etelman, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Xavier soccer program.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time today.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Kate, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.